Myra from India asks, what were your first impressions of one another?
Myra from India? All the
Yeah.
way from India?
Yeah.
Cool. Hi, Myra. Thanks for writing in. Okay, my first impression of Tobin was that she was kind of cliquey. She had her friends, and
Wow.
actually, on an old episode of the recap show, Lauren Cheney talked to us about this because they were the new kids and they had no new friends. And when other people became friends with me, she was kind of rude.
But who was the first person that was nice, showed you kindness on the team?
And you know what else I remember? 2012 Olympics, you said, sometimes, Kristen, you have to do things that you don't like to do. And I was like, this chick's dead to me.
Okay. I think there's like a whole nother story of
and I don't know what it was, but I just was
somehow
like, no.
I was on your rooming list.
Okay, that is getting cut from the show. Moving on.
So there must have been something there. Allison Bailey from Canton, Ohio asks, who would win a soccer game if it were 11 Tobin Heaths versus 11 Kristen Presses? Press E. Presses. Presses. Oh, okay. What is the plural of press?
The plural of press is press. Right?
No, like if there's the presses. Like,
the plural
are you guys the
of
presses?
press.
Your family.
We're the press family.
Oh, there you go. That's good. That's a great question.
And now I know why before the episode, Tobin decided this was a mean question because the answer was so obvious. And I will have to agree that it is very obvious. Tobin would smoke me. And here's why. I have a lot of quality and excellence in what I consider the most entertaining, fun, and important part of the game. And I have a lot of room to improve in some of the less fun, boring, less entertaining parts of the game, like, defending and, conditioning, knowing where to be if it's not like in the box. So 11 Tobin Heaths would be really scary and really competitive and like very tactically sophisticated. And I would just have 11 players in the box.
I would love to see how 11 Kristen Presses showed up against me.
Imagine Kristen in the goal.
Yeah, I know. That's what I thought. I thought if you had any chance.
I need one. Could it be 10
one.
Kristen and Alyssa Nair?
Actually.
Then she's got a chance. Sonia from Oak Park, Illinois asks, what is the main characteristic that you want to develop as a young soccer player?
I think what we've learned from all these incredible guests that we've had on on the recap show is that all of these guests share kind of this common theme of not seeing failures as finite, but actually seeing failures as learnings. And I think that's such a powerful tool to give any young person, is that actually let's celebrate the failures and let's see them as learnings. And I think that's one of the best developmental skills, I think, for a young person, but even for an adult. And the other thing, just for soccer, play. The act of playing, I think we've gotten so rigid. And I think giving kids back the joy of being playful, being imaginative, creating their own worlds, their own drills, their own visions of players that they want to be. I think that's the greatest gift that we can give any young person. And happy birthday, Sonia.
Well, I hope we cut that for social because every young soccer player in the world needs to hear that. Great advice, Tobin.
Angela from Maryland asks, what has been inspiring you lately?
Ooh,
great question.
My home.
Angela from Maryland.
Oh, my home. Oh my gosh. So being an athlete, you're just a nomad, and I was not meant to be a nomad. You also live with your team, and I was not meant for communal housing. I was not meant for hotel life. I was not meant for buffets. Oh, God. That we know for sure. Those are the sacrifices that I made to be a soccer player. And now I get to be a soccer player and I get to live in a home. And it's my home and I'm obsessed with it. And every single day that I come home, I feel inspired. And it makes me to be able to take care of things. So actually, related, Tobin and I were learning about like land and how we have as humans these like weird ideas that we own land and we own this home. So I try not to think of it as this home that I own. I think of it as this land that I get to take care of for a period, and someone will come after me and take care of it. And we don't have a lot of land. We live in LA, so we have a very little amount of land, but it is the land that we take care of, and that's what I love about it. And just like a little bit of insight, because like I'm on a rant right now, we have a camera in the house, and so when I was away on an away trip, I like to like see what's going on in the house. And in just an example of how we take care of our home. Yesterday, I see Tobin out there with like a rag and like a broomstick just scrubbing the exterior of our home. I was like, what are you doing?
She's such a creep with all these cameras.
But I do like to know what's going on in my home.
I do love taking care of them.
And we take care of it, and we have plant babies, and it's inspiring
thriving.
thing.
It's thriving.
Fran from Germany asks, oh, hi, all the way in Germany. Apparently, in every relationship, there's one partner who stacks the dishwasher like a Scandinavian architect and one like a raccoon on meth. Who's the raccoon?
Wow, I didn't know this about relationships, but we're like, we don't really fit this mold, right?
I think we do.
Okay, I think from that response, I may be the raccoon on meth.
I think so. I mean, a Scandinavian architect. Hello.
I do see it like slightly rearranged after I put things in.
You do. Yeah. My mom had a phrase. What was it? It's basically like you can always fit more stuff in the dishwasher. I don't know. It didn't play well.
Diana from San Jose wants to know, Kristen, I hear you like musicals. Do you have a favorite, and are you planning on seeing Wicked in the movie theater?
This is so funny because before we started the episode, I wanted to talk to our producers and do an over-under if we could make it through the episode without you talking about Wicked. And then you did, but it was so reading timely. A community question. Yes, we saw Wicked. Yes, we cried. Yes, it was incredible. I think the community question might not have said this, but if everyone wants to know what our favorite scene was, it was the Oz ball.
Is that what it was called? Oh, yeah.
And Tobin and I have done the dance multiple times since we saw the movie, which you'll understand once you see the Ozball scene.
Lori asks, what is your biggest pet peeve?
Biggest?
Smallest?
It's sort of like, what are all of your pet peeves? Because like a pet peeve is a small thing, you know? So it's like, my biggest pet peeve is when like 10 of my pet peeves are broken like consecutively.
And what would that be?
I don't know. What are my pet peeves?
I feel like I did one yesterday when you were like really deep in like a train of thought.
Interruption.
And I interrupted you.
Pet peeve.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially when I'm passionate. That's a no-no.
When the kitchen's dirty.
Oh my gosh, when I have to walk into my house and there's dishes stacked in my sink. Pet peeve. Melissa from Miami, Florida asks, who is your favorite soccer player growing up?
Easy, Ronaldinho.
I knew the answer to that. What did you like about Ronaldinho?
There just didn't seem to be any separation from like the way he controlled a ball and like just him. It was like he was born with a soccer ball in his foot.
Did you like watching him train or playing games more?
Probably both, because he's probably one of the only players that like showed the same kind of like joy and enthusiasm. And plus back in the day, like we didn't really have training videos. I feel like that's kind of like a newer thing where you get like those snapshots of training.
I think I imagine him juggling the ball
all
before
of his
the game.
Yeah. I mean, I do think it was like that aspect of it, kind of like the fun and the joy, because you can do that away from a team, right? When it's just you and a football, like you can just play and mess around and try things.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's that aspect of it that I loved, which is like the individual skill, which doesn't require like team practice to do. Amara from Massachusetts wants to know, do you still identify as a Gleek?
I haven't watched Glee in a long time, but I think once a Gleek, always a Gleek.
I didn't even know what that was.
I wasn't sure. But
I was like, is this a glamorous geek?
Maybe that's what they meant. I thought it was like a geek for Glee, the show Glee. It is.
I mean, either way, I think it works.
I am a geek. Oh my gosh, that show still brings me to tears. But I love spontaneous singing. As you know.
love musicals.
I do.
Yeah. Sophie from Michigan asks, "What Disney character are you?"
Probably Pocahontas with a touch of Jasmine.
Oh, that's a good crossover.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, good collab there.
What do you think?
I like it. I'm surprised how easy this was for you.
Oh, yeah, you've never been asked
You're
that?
such a Disney nerd. Yeah, you're
Well,
right.
the thing about Pocahontas, well, you see, they all have beautiful voices just like me.
And beautiful hair.
Oh my gosh, that's what I was going to say. What always got me about Pocahontas is she would be in the river and then she would come out and she would wring her hair at once and it was dry. And I always dreamed that I could have a full blowout after just one squeeze.
You know, I was going to keep going with this, but that was just such a good ending.
Yeah, and then just, I hope this gets cut. But then Jasmine, I'm more of an Aladdin. Like, I wasn't really a John Smith. So, like, if I had to, like, have a love story, I'm definitely then Jasmine, okay? Until they have their lesbian Disney movie.
I mean, what a great combo that would be.
Oh my God, Pocahontas with Jasmine.
Right?
No, too much of the same.
Too much good hair. Too much hair.
Too much hair. Okay, great start. Thanks for the great question. Liz from Oakland said, not asked, she said, "Tobin, you talked about your love of hippos after your safari last year. If you had a baby hippo, what would you name it?"
Oh, I don't know. I'm obsessed with that one hippo right now.
Oh my
Same
gosh,
with everyone
aren't we
else.
all?
Yeah, but I saw that in the wild
I know.
every day. So I'm kind of like, I like seeing it without people.
Did you already tell
The hippo
all
story?
the reimaginers about the hippo story?
Oh, that I didn't know they were able to run. Or that they were off land. And when I
Yeah.
saw a hippo running, it was like,
She was like,
it was like,
"Oh my God, that hippo can walk." They can all walk.
that thing was moving fast.
I know. I hope that we can like splice in the video of the hippo running in this episode.
And then the little hippos I would watch the whole entire with
Aw,
through
come
my
out of the
binoculars. I just
water.
watched the little hippos. They're so cute. I'm usually really good at names, so
Well,
I think I'll have to get back to this.
Yeah.
And I don't want to force it.
I know.
Yeah. I feel like hippo in itself is kind of like a name. Like Hippie the hippo.
Hippie the hippo. You got to it. Oh, that would be the
Little
perfect
hippie-
hippo for
little
you.
hippie hippo.
Yeah.
So cool. Like a little bandana around its head.
Magda from Poland asks, "What's your favorite holiday?"
the Grinch.
Honestly, if you all knew how many times a day she does that.
Of course, I love Christmas.
Yeah, you
I love Christmas.
I mean, every year we say we're not going to get gifts, and then
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Tobin wants a whole pile of presents under the tree just for the
Aesthetics. I don't actually want the gifts. I just want it to look like a lot
No,
of
you
gifts.
love gifts. This is when you start to lie about your personality. She's like, "I don't really want the gifts." Then she does want the gifts. And
You're
she's like,
pretty good at
"It's
gift
not for
giving.
the gifts, it's for the aesthetic." And then she opens every gift with such delight.
Well, you get me really nice
Even if I
gifts.
get you something terrible, you treasure it for the
Yeah.
rest of your life.
You're right. You're right. Yeah. So I like Christmas.
I'm more of a birthday gal.
Wait, you could pick your birthday as a holiday?
Yes.
Birthdays are holidays?
This is our world. This is the recap show. We get to make everything up as we go.
Anna from Croatia wants to know, when was the last time you had In-N-Out and what is your go-to order?
This is mean because I
It
secretly
didn't say how often do you have In-N-Out.
well,
It
I
said
secretly went to In-N-Out last week while you were out of town and didn't tell you about it.
that is mean. That is so mean.
I know.
When?
When you were in Boston.
Well, I know where I was.
Well, I think that was like 3 days ago.
Yeah, okay.
And I would say Tobin kind of keeps me on the straight and narrow. And so when she leaves town, I might just like drive to In-N-Out immediately.
Or like drop me off at the airport and you go to In-N-Out. Is that
yeah.
what you did?
No.
Oh.
Mm-mm. It was worse. I went right before acupuncture. This is like a true story. I think
What's
that's
worse,
it. No one
going
needs.
before or after acupuncture?
I think before. I was like in my stomach, like clogging all my arteries as I was like trying to cleanse them.
Yeah. Okay.
Nobody needs to know what I ordered, so that was good. Allison from Ohio asks, out of you, A-Rod, and Lauren Holiday, who would be the better pilot? Who would be the flight attendant? And who would be the passenger? Okay, wait. Before you answer, think of all three, and I'll see if we can say them at the same time. I'm going to try to guess what you're going to say.
Oh, I know. I see it clearly. So I wouldn't just go with like who would be better, but I will just say exactly how our friendship is.
Okay, wait. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to say pilot, and then we'll say a name. And then we'll say flight attendant, and then we'll say a name. And then we'll say passenger, and we'll say a name. Okay. Wait, I have to figure it out.
This is so easy for me.
Okay. Pilot. Cheney. Seems like I cheated because I was going to say Lauren, but I knew that. Okay. Flight attendant.
A-Rod.
I cheated again, but I got it. Okay.
Well, this
passenger. Of course, it's Tobin.
I love being a passenger. I make for a great passenger.
At first, I thought you'd be the pilot because you do love to drive and you would love to drive a plane. But then I was like,
both
obviously.
My older sisters. And I feel like A-Rod would just be like, she would just like pretend to be the best flight attendant. Like, she loves acting.
Yeah, no, so. I think that's spot on.
Yeah, that's exactly what our friendship is. Like, there was no like question. Like, I feel like if we were all to be asked that, it would have.
I know, I wasn't in the friend group, but I got it.
Yeah. Fry from Pennsylvania wants to know, if you were a bagel, what kind would you be? I love bagels.
I know, this should have been for you. I like plain bagels.
With butter.
With no cream cheese. Ugh.
Just, you're not a good bagel
like
person.
A plain bagel toasted with butter. And then if I'm being a little bit like saucy, then I'll get
cinnamon sugar.
Cinnamon sugar toasted with butter. What about you? Bagel queen.
I want every single bagel there is.
No.
And I want them all.
No, you don't like everything bagels. You don't like those seeds.
Coriander?
No. You don't like coriander. Callaway? Could be.
See, there's a seed that sometimes everything bagels have that I don't like. When they don't have that seed, I really like everything bagels. But I would only know that if it was my local bagel shop.
A Callaway could be the seed, or it could be that thing in your hair when you start to seed. We're not sure. We're going with it.
Joe from Florida asked, what was the most memorable thing you experienced at the NWSL Championship this past weekend?
This is a memorable thing. We did a live show at FanFest, and the way that Tobin and I generally prepare for shows is basically taking on the reverse of each other's personalities. So I am very planned and organized and prepared. Prior planning prevents poor performance. My dad told me that when I was like 4. So like, that's who I am. And Tobin's laissez-faire and she's easygoing. But when we get ready for the recap show, we are in role reversal and I just show up and Tobin does everything for you guys. So thank you, Tobin. And I would say a very memorable moment was before the episode. Tobin was planning, had it in her notebook, and I was like, don't worry, I got you. No matter what happens, I got you. And I just thought to myself, like, I don't know how I got her because I don't know what's going to happen up there. And then we went out on stage and it was amazing. It was the very beginning of FanFest, so people were just entering and the crowd was phenomenal and loving and supportive. And Tobin and I were up there on the stage doing the live show, had each other's back. It was way harder than I thought it was going to be because there's a little bit of movie magic in here. And I think we did an okay job.
Yeah.
You know, in the end, it doesn't really matter because the sun was setting and our skin looked so good that that's all that anyone could see.
It's cool to have like first, like still like at this point, like what I'd say in our career to have like first, and that was a first feeling.
Yeah, it was. And I think the memorable part for me is just like the feeling of like being unsteady, being up on stage, like trying to like feel the energy of the crowd, feeling your energy. We brought on our guests and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is a lot. And just, it makes you feel like a human.
Yeah.
You know, like it's funny because you think like being on a stage with people watching you would not make you feel like a human, but it's like the most vulnerable thing.
Yeah.
And we just like, you just pray that people like you because that's all you got.
Yep, that's all you got. Want more of the recap show? Never miss an episode by subscribing on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.